In this little video series, we've been thinking about some biblical reasons why work is good by God's design. And my fourth one today is a little strange. I want to suggest that work is good, fourthly, because of the way our rest should underpin our work. Many people come to the conclusion that our work is a necessary evil. But some of us can often go to the opposite extreme and think that work is the only good thing and that rest somehow is a necessary evil. It is surprising, for example, in Genesis, that after working, God tells us that he rested. And I'm not sure that God needed to rest because he was tired or needing to recharge his batteries. But for God to rest after his work surely must imply that rest in itself must somehow be a good thing. I find it very striking that in Genesis, the very first day of Adam's life was God's day of rest. Often in our lives, we are tending to work so that we can rest. We work so that we can get to the weekend and enjoy not working. But Adam's life started with a weekend. Rest came first, and then work flowed out of that rest. Rest is designed to remind us that all of our busy activity and our performance can never create our identity, but that our activity will always flow from our identity. And this is actually an important spiritual principle too. We don't work our way into God's favor. We rest in what God has done for us already in Christ. And then we can serve God and serve one another from that place of rest with nothing to prove. I do realize that this is a bit messy in our culture nowadays, and that Sundays can be like any other day in a way, but I do like to think of Sunday as the first day of the week rather than the last day of the week, and that our week actually begins with us gathering to worship God and remembering who we are. And then we get sent out. We gather in and then get sent out into a new week to do our work. It's a reset, and there's a healthy weekly rhythm to that idea. I think in Genesis, God's own rest was also a rest of satisfaction, even of celebration and admiration as he looked back over what he had done. There was a time to work, and then there was a time to stop and reflect. And I think in this way, work also reminds us that rest also reminds us that work is not all that there is. We're not meant to be task-focused all the time. There's a time to relax. There's a time to contemplate and reflect. There is a place for stopping and actually appreciating the things that we've done. In one of our earlier videos, I mentioned a quote from William Morris, where he talks about things either being useful or beautiful. I think the idea of rest encourages us to remember both sides of that equation. It does us good to slow down and look at things for their own sake and for their own beauty, rather than viewing everything in terms of its utility or its usefulness to us. Of course, we're not God, and we clearly do need to replenish our stores of energy and be refreshed. But I am suggesting that when we rest, we are celebrating God's good design for work. We're remembering our freedom from work being the thing that defines who we are. And we're expressing our faith in God and relaxing from the need to control everything all the time. I wonder whether perhaps too in our rest we're remembering that we need each other and that we can't do everything all by ourselves. I think rest also helps us to remember that the work that we do really is an act of worship. Colossians chapter 3 verses 23 to 24 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for man, since you know that you will receive an inheritance for the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving." Tom Nelson and Tim Keller both speak about the liberating idea that our best work is done before an audience of one. The Lord Christ is the one you are serving. And I wonder, after being in church on a Sunday, how many Christians feel that what they then go out to do on a Monday is as glorious as all that. So our fourth reason that work is good is that the way God calls us to rest underpins our work. Next time we'll start thinking about why in this fallen world work is also hard. Thanks for watching this time. Look forward to seeing you again next time.